What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. So Hasbro Pulse 2022, day one is in the books. We saw some really cool reveals from the Power Rangers brand, Transformers, saw prototypes in person of the starting lineup figures, and today's topic, Marvel Legends. Now, I'm going to break down a lot of these different panels throughout the next few days, but I had to jump on right away and talk about Marvel Legends. That was the main attraction for Friday. This was the one I was most excited about seeing of all the Friday reveals. And I think for the most part, it didn't disappoint. There were some cool reveals, some of which had been leaked earlier in the week, but it was really exciting to actually see them in person. So I thought this was a pretty strong panel, probably because it skewed a lot more to the comic book side of things. We only saw one MCU reveal, and I think for a lot of us who've been clamoring for more comic book focused lines, waves, this was really good to see. So I figured, let me get the bad out the way right away, because I thought there was so much more good, and I'm going to spend a lot more time talking about that, but there is some bad, and I want to break down and discuss as well. First up, Hasbro was relentless with his Selfie Series. It felt like every panel they were talking about the Selfie Series, where you can get your head on an action figure. And I think the concept is okay. It's kind of interesting. Not for the $80 price tag they're charging. Now for PulseCon, at least through this weekend, it's a special price of $60. That's a better deal. But I was real leery because it kept feeling like they were keeping these figures at a distance. Like, hey, I've got my new figure, but we couldn't see a close-up to really appreciate how well the likeness was. And it wasn't until the Marvel Legends panel that we got to see some real strong close-ups and just how sketchy and how off these likenesses are. I think some of it's just a matter of the hair not matching up, but sometimes these sculpts just look really soft. And if you're paying $60 for just a head sculpt, it needs to be so dead on accurate that it's like, yep, that's me on an action figure. And I don't think this really delivers at all. And I hope tomorrow's not another deluge of, hey, don't forget, you can get a new Selfie Series figure of yourself. That's going to get really annoying really fast. So when it came down to the figures, one that was on that leak list that I was very excited about was Molecule Man. Molecule Man is a longtime classic Marvel villain. Jack Kirby drew him. He fought the Fantastic Four. Probably his most prominent role was in the original Secret Wars miniseries or maxi series. And basically Dr. Doom recognized that he was the most powerful dude this side of Galactus, and he needed him as his right-hand man, basically. So he treated him as his top lieutenant, and Molecule Man really started feeling himself, his powers, his abilities, with Dr. Doom propping him up, telling him how great he was. And I was really worried because Hasbro, their designers, seemed like they get stuck for whatever reason. The Hasbro labs, their internet, their Google search does not allow them to process anything prior to 1990. So everything they do kind of has a modern slant, even though it's a character from back in the 60s. They're going to find the most recent look for the character and go, here you go, here's Molecule Man. And that's what we got. So Molecule Man was featured in the 2015 Secret Wars saga. And in this series, he was drawn much differently than he was back in the day, where he had that kind of old look, kind of creepy, weirdo look. In the 2015 series, he was drawn more like a pretty boy, had his hair up just nice. He just was kind of like a regular dude. And I was like, I feel like Hasbro's going to go with this look. And of course, that's the one they went with. So for all this time of hoping we get Molecule Man that would fit in a Secret Wars classic display, we're still waiting on that figure. Now maybe there's some hope that Hasbro will go, let's do the best of both worlds. Let's do what we did with Black Knight. Let's give you guys the modern head sculpt and the classic old school one. Now, they've done this before with figures, so it's not like outside the realm of possibility. We saw that with the Wolverine 5-pack where we had a Mastermind and a Jason Wingard head sculpt, so maybe we could see this done with Molecule Man. We don't need to get a retro card Molecule Man down the road. We just need another head sculpt that has an older look, that has a creepier, scuzzier head sculpt. That's all we really need. So if they do two, I'll take this off the bad list, but if we just get this pretty boy look for him, it's still a miss. Still not getting it done for me. Next up is Moonstone. And she was another character I was really hoping to see because the Thunderbolts, like I mentioned in the last episode, need some more team members. And Moonstone was definitely a major player on that squad. She had a really cool outfit, really cool costume, and she was an integral member on that team. She was Baron Zemo's right-hand woman, and then when Hawkeye took over the team, she was cozying up to him. So it kind of worked out really well that she was an important player. And instead, we get the more modern Moonstone look where she's in the white and the gold. It's like, gosh. And she's going to be a Walgreens exclusive, so she'll be hard to find, which is fine because I don't care. I don't want this version of her anyway, so that's one less figure I have to worry about tracking down. But again, you started the classic Thunderbolts. We've got Baron Zemo. We've got Songbird. We've got Mach 1. Now it's time to flesh out some more of those team members. We don't need the modern Thunderbolts, which has just every supervillain. Finish the team. Focus up and get this team knocked out because there's not that many more members and they will look really cool together in 6-inch form for the first time in a Marvel Legends collection. So that's another miss, and hopefully we'll get her. Or maybe they'll just cheat and do a 3-pack or 4-pack of the rest of the Thunderbolts so we can get that team completed. Alright, so another thing I thought was kind of funny was we got a mention of the HasLab Engine of Vengeance, and they were going, it's still going strong, which I thought was really weird because it's in the state of flux. It still hadn't hit over 6,000 backers yet, and it's kind of hovering around 5,480. It's gone up, it's gone down from there, but including the Robbie Reyes head as a make good for not getting that early bird version didn't work. But it's still just kind of that same level. So to help get us motivated, we've got to see the actual prototype of Mephisto. He looks better than the render, which I think was a case for a lot of these figures, which is a good thing. It's like, great. The actual figure looks better than the render. Awesome. So Mephisto looked good. I could almost see him working sort of as a classic if they painted his face pink and not red. I know that's what he looks like right now in the comic book, but I prefer the pink face. So we got to see him, but then they also teased the next tier, which I thought was weird because you've got your fan base here. They're paying attention. You've got all their attention, and they want to know more about this thing to decide, do I really want to back this project? And instead of going, hey, here's tier 2, here's tier 3, here's tier 4, they just go do a little tease. So we see the amulet of the Goblin Queen. And this project is so far away from the 12,000 needed to get to Mephisto. I am shocked that they did not just say, hey, here's Goblin Queen. If you want her, you've got to get the 12,000 to get to Mephisto. And then you're going to need to get 13 or you're going to need to get 15,000 to get Goblin Queen. I think that was a really odd strategy, especially for a HasLab that has thus far been so slow to roll out, get that momentum. This could have been a nice goodwill gesture to get people excited and going, hey, I do want to fund this because I like Madeline Pryor. I want to get her, so I'll back this project. But I feel like it was a real missed opportunity. So then, this was the doozy for me. But you know what? I'm going to say that for last. So we're moving off of the X-Men for the VHS series, and instead we're going to SpiderMan. I think that was really weird because I felt like the Spider-Man retro series in a lot of ways was the Spider-Man animated series line anyway. We've seen Venom, we've seen Scorpion with the coloring, Hobgoblin with the coloring, the shading of how they appeared in the cartoon series. And I don't really see the lure, the attraction of, hey, let's put these in the VHS boxes. Maybe this is my bias because I would love to see Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes or Fantastic Four or Iron Man get that kind of treatment because those characters, those universes included a lot of cool characters in those cartoons that we haven't seen yet. I feel like with the Spider-Man figures, we're just going to see the same ones we've seen over and over again. Now, maybe they'll do a Dr. Octopus. There was a content creator question about Doc Ock's tentacles being able to be bendable like Mr. Fantastic's arms. Maybe the long play here is to have him in that kind of armored outfit with bendable tentacles. I don't know, but it just seems like you have a dedicated Spider-Man retro line. You don't really need a dedicated Spider-Man retro line, a dedicated Spider-Man VHS line too, because it's like, dude, there's so many more corners of the Marvel Universe beyond just Spider-Man. And I know he's super important. He's got lots of great characters to pull from. Maybe this is where we'll see Aunt May. But it just felt like a missed opportunity to show a little love to some of those other pockets of the cartoon universe that we haven't really explored as much as X-Men and Spider-Man. So, now for the real doozy. So, after that deluxe Mojo was revealed, I actually saw him in stores. I didn't bother even looking at the box because it's not like I can see him anyway. It's windowless packaging. But a lot of you all were like, yeah, I'm just going to wait on the retro long shot because I know they're going to release him. And I'm like, there is no way. There's no chance Hasbro would let this Mojo sneak out, come to retail before the box set Mojo World comes out. The 4-pack with Little Wolverine, Dazzler, long shot, and Mojo. We got the jaundice version and the deluxe set. But then they proved me so wrong because they revealed a retro long shot. There's nothing wrong with this figure. I mean, this looks great. It looks like the Outback long shot that I really wanted. It's got the little sparkle gleam in his eye. But I'm like, what are you guys doing? This completely kills all the incentive, all of the reason to buy this Mojo World set. I feel like as fast as we saw the HasLab Engine of Vengeance numbers drop after the early bird Robbie didn't get funded, we're going to see a lot more people canceling their Mojo World sets because it's like, what is the point? Mojo and Longshot were the real sellers for that set. Now you're trying to tell me that the whole reason that people would stick with the original Mojo World is so that they can get a better painted version of Mojo, a non-jacketed version of Dazzler. I've seen some pictures, some in-hand photos that people have gotten this set. Dazzler doesn't look great. Her head sculpt actually looks kind of crummy, and she looks surprised, like, oh my gosh, were you taking my picture? So she didn't look great, but I guess that's more of how she actually looks in the comic book, so maybe that's a plus, but geez, is she worth $133? I don't know about that. And then Little Wolverine, who is a waste of inclusion in that set to begin with. So I don't know. I feel like at this point, I'm just going to cancel my set as well and just get the Deluxe Mojo and get Retro Longshot because they really clearly want us to make that move anyway. So really weird choice. I do not understand the logic, the thought pattern here. Again, it seems like a better play to have done to release this way down the road, Mojo and Longshot, after people had already gotten the box and like, oh, I should have known. But beforehand, just seems like they're cutting their knees off on this whole Mojo World set. And then does this spell the message to Hasbro that maybe people don't want these box sets of four characters? I don't know. It's a really weird choice, but that's that. So then I say all that because during the power outage where everyone's YouTube froze and it was like, dude, how are we messing up now? We didn't have any mistakes during any other portion, any other panel, but for the Marvel Legends, now it drops. So we actually missed seeing the Daredevil box set, and I don't know if I can trust Hasbro at this point because it's got a bullseye with some weird blue chest paint. It was weird. We got Elektra in her white attire, and that's cool. Not a bald Elektra, but I like her in the white as well. And Daredevil, I think a lot of us have been clamoring for a new Daredevil, better articulation for a long time. We finally get it in this box set. But now I'm kind of like, yeah, should I just wait until the standalone Daredevil comes out? Because clearly that's the move you guys are going to do. So it's going to be Elektra's going to come out soon on her own next week, and Daredevil's going to come out in December. their track record is really bad, and it's kind of hard to trust Hasbro with box sets at this point because all the other figures and box sets are being released. So, yeah, that's the bad. Like I said, that's all the bad. I thought so much more of it was good. I was really excited, like I said, for the comic book reveals that we got. Really exciting to see. But let's talk about the one MCU reveal. That was Gamora, Warrior Gamora from the What If episode. I find it really funny that we're getting so much closer to getting that Avengers Infinity Squad completed before some of the comic book teams. But Gamora looks cool from the render, and I think if she turns out as well as the render, and it's been the case for those reveals we saw today, she'll be a really nice figure and one worth adding to my Disney Plus What If section. Alright, so then we got the Orb, and the Orb was a really cool figure. It's a nice inclusion to the Ghost Rider section of our collection. Unfortunately, it looks like he's still in the Bucky Cap mold, but I'm willing to ignore that little issue because his character is so off the wall. It's such an odd choice. The eye of the Orb looks great. It's got all these veins. It's got the flared boots, flared gloves. I had said flared boots. That was weird. Flared gloves, flared boots. So I'm really liking that figure. I think it'll look cool. A nice, different figure. We haven't seen the Orb before, so that's really cool to see him in figure form. And a slight thing that I kind of wish kind of speaks more to my whole thing of we really should ditch these retro waves. I feel like because so many of the Marvel Legends marketing team prefers to keep their figures mint on card, we're getting so many retro figures because this way they can kind of skirt the whole no more plastic. They're doing this with figures in the presentation that they like, so it kind of works out for them. But I feel like we're getting cheated on a Build-A-Figure because we got 6 new figures on the retro line revealed for X-Men, and they're really cool figures, and it feels like there was an obvious theme Build-A-Figure that could have been included that they kind of missed out on. Probably wouldn't have set the budget on fire, but it's like, you guys are killing me with these retro lines. All right, so we got the first up, and this was hilarious because it was premiered by Super Bowl winning quarterback of the New England Patriots, Brian Hoyer. Exactly. He showed off the X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 275 cover Wolverine in the training outfit. He looks pretty good. I really love the head sculpts. Those look solid. And it was basically, we're going to put the rest of these guys out. Don't worry. So that was nice to hear. And Wolverine looked good. I was initially concerned that he was going to be regular size, but when they showed the figure, it looks like he's going to be scaled shorter appropriately for Wolverine. So nice job on that figure. Next up was Multiple Man, and this is him without the trench coat, so that was cool because it's like the classic look for him. I think that green is a little bit too dark. I wish it was a little bit lighter, but now we can have him team up with the X-Men, deal with Proteus, and help out Moria on her island, on Muir Island, so Phoenix can help out and all that good stuff. So that's another character to add in your Phoenix saga setup. Really cool to see Multiple Man again, kind of set up as an army builder. I'm assuming these are going to be $24, hopefully not $26 or $27, but getting him as a retro presentation and the ability just to army build him again after missing out on the trenchcoat version. I only have 2, probably should have gotten 3, but now having this version I can probably get 3 or 4. That would be really cool. And I gave him 2 head sculpts instead of 3 like the original figure, but one was unmasked, so it kind of works out. But really like him. He was a good addition. Then we got Dark Phoenix, and this was really cool because I know so many of you all have been saying, oh man, I really am waiting for Dark Phoenix, the John Byrne Cyclops, to get re-released. This Dark Phoenix has the double jointed elbows, the bicep swivel, so I am pretty sure I'm going to get this figure just because love the Dark Phoenix saga. They took care of the little thing, put her Phoenix logo or clasp on her belt, so they took care of some issues that they did not address with the first one. And she's yellow instead of gold, so there's actually some nice distinction between the first one and the 2-pack in this version. So hopefully we'll see the Byrne Cyclops again with an updated body. but I hopefully they continue to have that shading, because I thought that really set that figure off, made him pop, made him look really good. So we got Dark Phoenix, we got Multiple Man, we got Wolverine. Then they dropped a big bomb on us. Surprise! We're going to give you some more team builders. We're actually going to come so close to completing a team. So first off, they showed us a new Avalanche, and I am ecstatic to finally be able to replace the Toy Biz, kind of, sort of, but not really Avalanche figure that has been holding the space for way too long on my shelf. My Freedom Force / Brotherhood of Evil Mutants section. Really, I thought this figure looked good. Only thing was, he only just had swappable hands, and even though we've seen them repeated ad nauseum, it'd have been nice to give him those bubble orb energy effects, just because it's kind of like his power, and it would make more sense for him to have that. We got tons of figures that have it, of course, but with a retro figure, I'd like to see more accessories than just swappable hands. And then finally, the one where all the budget went to in this set, Spiral. And everybody was saying, hey, where is she in the Mojo World set? Well, here she is in the retro line. They did an outstanding job on Spiral. She looks amazing. They just really knocked her out. There's no complaints. I have no issues with how they did Spiral. Really great figure. So if you're keeping score at home, that means we're just a few more members from completing the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And for me, that's Destiny, of course. And if this had been just a basic regular comic book line with a dedicated Build-A-Figure, we could have knocked out Blob. And Blob doesn't need to be all bulgy and have all these weird folds like the original Hasbro Build-A-Figure Blob. Could have been just a thick big boy version of him. He could have worked as this Build-A-Figure for that wave. I really think that would have been the way to go, because you could have knocked out 3 members of that team at one swoop. I also want the other 3 members of the Brotherhood Freedom Force that came in later. Crimson Commando, Stonewall, and I'm blanking. I believe his name was Wizard, but I feel like that might not be right. But anyway, the Speedster and that crew, I really like those guys. I thought they were nice additions to the team, and they had a nice showdown with Banshee, with Forge as well. So I love to see them added, even though they might be long shots. But I was really happy with this retro wave. I thought those were really good characters, good selections across various eras of the X-Men, and kind of focused on a time frame that I really liked. But that wasn't it, because they teased it and they didn't kind of wait much longer before they showed it. We got to see 3 more members of that uncanny 275 time frame. So we got to see Storm, and she seems like she's on the smaller teen body, so I think that actually works. She's got the shorter hair, and if she doesn't look too young, I think this would be a good opportunity to put that head sculpt on the leather black Storm, and not that white one, but the black one that was released as a retro as well, because Storm had the short hair for a half second, so that would be a nice option for that figure. But she looks really cool in the training outfit. Then of course we get my man Banshee. Now, this is not, of course, the Banshee version I want. I want the green and yellow. Dwight is still trolling us saying, ha, still didn't get you that one, and I'm still not leaving, so you're still not getting that one. But at least we got a version of Banshee that works, not just for that uncanny X-Men 275 homage, but it actually rocked that look for a little bit as the team split into blue and gold. So I like the fact that we're finally getting Banshee. He looks cool. He's going to have 2 portraits, which is good. Something that Siren should have had. But at least Banshee does get it. So really nice to see that. And we got an updated Strife. So that's cool, because I know a lot of people wanted him. And he's a character that's super expensive on the secondary market. I like to see Hasbro knocking out those figures that are just so expensive. And for people who might have missed out, they get a chance to get a figure without having to pay $200 for it. So really nice to see that. Finally, or not finally, there's 2 more reveals, but the last member of the X-Men VHS series, it's not Magneto, it's my boy Cyclops. And for all of my complaints about this animated line, I think I can work around those issues with all the cell shading with Cyclops. Because like I said, I kind of like his outfit when it has the shading, the darker blue, the black, and that blue. And I think I can swap out the boots to give more than just the yellow and no not shading, because I've been trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do with that 3-pack Love Triangle Cyclops and the bomber jacket. Now I think I've figured out what to do. This Cyclops looks to be on a different body than some of the others because it has butterfly shoulders, which is awesome. It's not the Bucky cap mold, so I think I'm going to jump and get this figure. So this is going to be my next Cyclops, and I'm really looking forward to getting him. My first, probably only member of this X-Men VHS wave. Really excited to see Cyclops. And I think this might be a better version for me than the Mayfix one, which kind of looked a little bit off. So I'm really excited about that. And then finally, the last reveal was a Walmart exclusive, but I think this is a smart exclusive for Walmart. It's Star-Lord from his original Guardians of the Galaxy look. So this is not the DNA version. This is classic Star-Lord. And I really like this. If I am remembering this properly, I need to reread it because it was really good and it's a fun read. I think this is what he looked like at the early stage of the Annihilation crossover, massive one that started the whole DNA Nova Guardians of the Galaxy run. But I think he rocked this outfit a little bit during that. But it's a nice classic look for him. And it's one of those deals where if I find it at Walmart, hey, I might grab it. But it's not a deal breaker if I don't see it either. So that is really cool. I'm really happy with that figure. And of course, I forgot earlier in the day, we got the reveal of the Iron Man 90s armor from the cartoon. And this time, it's got more of an animated look. So it's not the gold that really popped with that modular armor look. With the Iron Man figures, Hasbro's like, yes, we could do a regular yellow and then we can do a gold, or we can do vice versa, but we can get 2 figures and they'll buy it because, yes, we got them. I really like the gold on the modular armor, but this figure does come with the super massive cannon. And I guess for whatever reason, they do not have a partnership with the Marvel umbrella, despite the fact we saw Power Rangers doing crossovers with Street Fighter, but they don't have this set up yet with the greater Capcom universe. So they couldn't mention, like in Marvel vs. Capcom, Iron Man pulls out this massive cannon, but they included the cannon. It looks amazing. It looks really cool. And that's a nice nod to the video game. I wonder if we'll see more of those, like a repaint of this again to do that War Machine look. But that's really cool. A nice addition to this figure. But that wraps it up on the Marvel Legends front. I think they did a really good job. Showed off some cool figures. Did what I was hoping for with more comic book figures. I just wish we could have taken that retro X-Men wave, make it a full comic book wave with the Build-A-Figure blob. That was like the only thing that I really was hoping, that I thought was slightly off on that good column. If we can get a classic old school head sculpt on that Molecule Man, he's going to shift over to good as well. Moonstone was just a super miss for me. I really want those classic Thunderbolts figures because we still need them. We've already gotten almost half the team, but it's time to get some more movement on them because it's been a while since we got Mach 1. We've only got 3 members so far. But overall, I thought this was a really good presentation from the Marvel Legends team. I thought they needed this. There were a lot more figures in that leak list that we didn't see, so I was kind of like, oh man, I was hoping to see some of those 2-packs, some more Avengers, but I guess we still got to save some stuff for next month, October 20th, with the next reveal and all other Hasbro Marvel Legends live streams that we'll see from the rest of the year. So really good presentation. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know which figures you're going to pre-order, which ones you were hoping to see, which ones you thought were really impressive, and which ones you were a little bit disappointed with, because it's all about a good conversation and good dialogue here on this channel. As always, thank you so much for watching. This episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.